Hey guys and girls, welcome back. And if this is your first time, welcome. All right, this is the Brotherhood Academy Radio podcast, and this is episode number 003. I am Nick Hilton. I'm your host. My co host is not with me today, Paul Ballantyne. So this is going to be another solo episode. We're going to have a lot of these. Paul and I work some crazy schedules, so it's tough to get us together on a routine basis to be consistent with getting episodes up. Which is perfectly fine because he's got a lot of cool stuff going on with his career, and I'm super proud of him, and I'm sure he'll discuss that with us at some point. So this is going to be a solo episode, and it's going to be geared towards something that I have kind of been able to relate to at home and with obviously the fire service. And it's a term that I heard called weeds in the garden. It's pretty neat. We'll get into that. If you are new to this and you haven't really heard of the Brotherhood Academy Radio, this is a movement for helping and preserving the volunteer fire service in the United States. It's definitely a dying breed, and we're here to fight for that dying breed. And we're going to do this through taking action. We're going to do it through finding solutions, identifying the problem, but finding a solution to the problem. And this podcast is going to be there to help volunteer fire departments, call fire departments, and the combination paid volunteer or whatever paid call fire departments. However you guys manage it. And that's not to say that this isn't for your career guys out there or your general public or public leaders, because we want everybody to listen to this podcast so those folks have an understanding of what we're all about. So I want to thank everybody for listening. I want to thank everyone for giving this a try. And if you haven't heard of us on social media, we're all over social media. Check it out, Facebook. Just go to Facebook and just search for Brotherhood Academy Radio, and you'll see our page. Hit like, share our stuff. You'll find me on Instagram. It's going to be under Nick Hilton _bar for Brotherhood Academy Radio. So Nick Hilton _bar. Check that out. I update that pretty much every day with at least an Instagram story or a cool content posted on the main feed. So
with Nick and Paul, Brotherhood Academy. Enjoy the show, Brotherhood Academy Radio. They've been friends since they were in diapers, so they have the same heart to be volunteer firefighters. Brotherhood Academy, fighting for a dying breed. Brotherhood Academy, Brotherhood Academy, Brotherhood Academy Radio.
weeds in the garden. So in the springtime, my wife planted a bunch of seeds for her garden, vegetable seeds. Started off in the living room under the big window in those little trays that you can buy at the store. And then I had some raised garden beds that I had built a few years ago, and then I built a couple of more, so we had a total of 4 of them. Got some dirt. Once the seedlings or saplings, whatever you call them, got a little big, we put them out in the yard. So these vegetables start to take a little bit of time to grow, but we're noticing what's growing faster are weeds. So now we got to start picking them out. We got to start weeding the garden. But we're fairly new at this. We don't really know what's what. So we're here trying to figure out which one is the weed and which one is the vegetable that we actually want to have. So as time went on, we started to realize that the vegetables were growing and the weeds were growing, but we could figure out where the weeds were as they got bigger. So the more weeds that we pulled out of our garden, the bigger our vegetables got. And soon enough, our vegetables, the plants that we wanted in our garden, the thriving ones that are going to provide us food and provide us benefits, are overshadowing the weeds. And eventually, the weeds stopped growing, and we didn't have to deal with it anymore. So how can we relate that to the fire service? Think about it for a little bit. Every fire department has drama. Every fire department has a group of people that go against the common values and the common goals and vision of the fire department. Every fire department, we all have people that like to complain and like to stir shit. And that can create an environment where people don't want to come around. The ones that actually care to serve their community and care to learn and care to fight fire don't want to hear all this crap, and they don't want to hear all this negativity from the people that are around there spreading it around. So I'm going to call them the weeds. So I've kind of put together a list of different types of weeds. Now, these might not correlate perfectly with real weeds out in the garden. However, the first type that I've come up with is called the annoying weeds. All right, so these are the guys that bring up drama. They're never happy. They always bitch about something. They see something that's broken. They complain about it, yet they don't come up with a solution. They see a problem. They don't come up with a solution. They just complain about it. It brings the department down. It pisses people off, and it makes the officers and the leadership feel like, unappreciated or I don't want to say disrespected, but a lot of work goes into the fire department, and if you see a problem, you better have a solution to it. All right, so these annoying weeds, that's the first type. The next are the invasive weeds. Now, these are the people that have a problem or have a pet peeve or something that's eaten at them, and they're miserable. It could be something at home, it could be something at the fire department or at their job. But these invasive types are going to recruit other people into their misery because, we all know misery loves company. They're going to turn these members against the greater good of the fire department. We need to be looking out for this. We need to start engaging everybody in positive activities, engaging them in ownership. A good way to prevent these invasive types from invading is to give your membership some ownership. Let the guys do something. Let them be productive. The next type are the selfish weeds. All right. We may not all have the selfish type. We may not. This is, I think, the most dangerous type that you can ever have in your fire department. These are the guys that don't care about anything or anyone but themselves. All right. They're totally selfish, and they have a personal agenda. It could be anything. It could be an officer's position. It could be a full-time position. It could be chief. Right? But these are the guys that are going to do anything that they can to get where they want to go with no regard whatsoever to any of the other members, to any of the officers, to the chief, to the procedures, and to the vision or goals and culture of your department. These people exist, all right? We have to learn how to identify this and how to control this and how to squash it, all right? So these selfish weeds are a huge problem. All right, and then the last of the damaging weeds. Now, these are the ones that steal. How many of you guys out there, guys and girls, have had members on your fire department that are stealing from your membership? Whether it be making up time for payroll, or stealing money out of a cabinet, a merchandise cabinet, or anything like that. I mean, a lot of us have our own private corporations to do fundraising and whatnot, and you can have these damaging weeds that are causing damage. They're taking money, or they could be doing crime on the side outside. They could be getting busted for driving while intoxicated, or doing drugs, selling drugs, committing crime. So these are the other kind of weeds we want to look out for. So I want to talk about in the future with some episodes. This is kind of something for us to think about right now. I don't really have a solution to this. And this is my biggest pet peeve, is you come with a problem without a solution. But I don't have a solution to this. But I think through discussion online, I think through future podcasts with some guests, we can definitely tackle this and come up with some solutions. So I'm going to post this podcast on the website like I always do. I'm going to share it on social media. After you guys listen to this podcast, I want to see some discussion on this. I want to know how do we control these weeds, and how do we fertilize the vegetables? And the vegetables being the members that are there to do good, and the members that are there to lead and to dive into things and be self-starters and to have some assertiveness. How do we fertilize those people and calm or eliminate the weeds? So that's my challenge to you for this podcast, is to think about that and get onto my page, get onto my Instagram, or get onto the Facebook page, Brotherhood Academy Radio. You'll see a topic on this. It'll probably be something about sharing this podcast, this episode. In there, I'm going to give you the challenge, and I want to see some discussion. All right? So thanks again, everybody, for listening. And hopefully the next time I'm on here, I'll be with my co-host Paul, and we're going to have a really awesome guest. And we're going to talk a little bit about training, and it'll probably go into some other things, because when the three of us get together, Paul, myself, and this guest, when we get together, things kind of can get a little bit out of hand, and it's pretty entertaining. So thank you so much, everybody, and we'll be getting back on here very soon.